No one knew what had happened to her. She was killed, lost, or maybe it was the fault of the friends she was with that unfortunate evening. And waiting for her at home was her 2-year-old daughter, who constantly asked her grandmother where her mother was. Katya is an ordinary woman with a complicated fate. She grew up in an incomplete family. Her parents divorced. Her personal life did not work out either. She was not married, and a daughter was born from a fleeting relationship. Her father does not participate in her upbringing. Katya is a single mother. Despite the fact that her parents are divorced, they love their daughter. They managed to allocate her a small one-room apartment in the Chelyabinsk region, where Katya lived with her 2-year-old daughter. She was not on maternity leave. She had to work and earn money. Katya got a job at the local railroad car depot, so she lived in the mode work, home, work. On that unfortunate day, her friends invited Katya to a picnic in the woods in a place not far from their small town. The place is not silent. Local residents often rest here, fry kebabs. The woman called her father and asked if he could babysit her granddaughter while Katya went on vacation. The father agreed. The daughter is young, she also wants to rest. They simply agreed that in the evening Katya would come back and pick up her daughter. Katya left with her friends to have a rest, and then according to them, Katerina went home at 9 p.m., saying that it was time for her to pick up her daughter from her grandfather. She was the first to leave the clearing. No one volunteered to see her off. The place was not remote and it was not far from the city, but Katya never showed up at her father's house. Father couldn't sleep a wink all night. Katya was not like that. If she sometimes left her daughter with him, she always took her home for the night. She always honored all the arrangements, called. After waiting for the morning, he immediately went to write a statement to the police. Immediately after receiving the statement, work began. The police passed the signal to the Ministry of Emergency Situations, and literally in an hour the first squad arrived in the area of the alleged search. Together with them, police officers arrived at the site. The criminal version became one of the main ones. Immediately, the information was transferred to the local search team. Volunteers arrived. The search area began with the clearing, where yesterday the company was resting. There were several roads going in different directions. First of all, they investigated them in the territory nearby, but they couldn't go very far, because along the paths there was only woods and swamp. It was strange. If Katya was lost, why did she even turn off the road? The initial survey of the clearing, trails and roads did not give any result. Neither Katya herself nor her traces or clothes were found. The area was divided into squares and began to be thoroughly examined by volunteers and Emercom staff with a slit chain. But the first day of the search ended with nothing. On the morning of the second day, Cossack detachments arrived in the search area. By the end of the second day, the entire area around the clearing within a radius of 5 kilometers had been surveyed. The criminal version began to come to the forefront. Katya could not have fallen through the ground. The investigative committee began its work. Everyone present at the clearing that day was under suspicion. Katya's mother had not been told anything about her daughter's disappearance for 24 hours because she had health problems. They were afraid of a heart attack, but they had to tell her because they needed someone to look after her little daughter. The grandmother had gotten a little pale, but she pulled herself together. She had to watch her granddaughter. The grandfather, having given up the child, immediately rushed to the forest, joined the volunteers and searched for his daughter. During the next days, there were searches and interrogations. Investigators questioned all of Katya's friends as thoroughly as possible and came to the conclusion that they were not involved in the disappearance and really do not know anything. The search zone in the forest was extended, but it was no use. Not a single trace was found, not a single clue. Everyone was beginning to doubt that Katya was alive. Maybe there was a criminal in town, and Katya was his victim. Maybe he met her on a forest road and killed her. And even if Katya had really gotten lost, there was great doubt that she was alive 6 days after going missing. She had no food or water with her, and it gets very cold at night in the Urals. On the 8th day, the search began to wind down. A huge area was surveyed, but not a single piece of evidence was found. Not a single testimony. In addition, experienced searchers realized that the woman was hardly alive anymore. Katya's parents were in despair. They had already started to decide what to do with their 2-year-old granddaughter, who was left without her mom. They did not know what to do. The search was curtailed. All hopes collapsed. Finally, they decided to go to a local psychic, and he told them that Katya was alive and in the forest. Almost a month passed. No one had any hope left. The parents had already started to collect documents for guardianship. They were grieving, but for the sake of the little girl, they had to move on. 28 days later, information spread around the city. The berry pickers had come across a gaunt and exhausted girl in the forest. But volunteers and police couldn't figure out whether it was rumor, fiction, or real events. No official statements or appeals were made. Katya's father still continued in his heart to hope for a miracle. Periodically, he came to that ill-fated clearing and looked for his daughter. That's where he got the call. It was an unknown number. He picked up the phone. Katya's found. She's alive. It was simply inexpressible emotions. The information found in the forest of the girl turned out to be true. And it really was Katya, who had disappeared almost a month ago. When Katya left the clearing, it was already dusk, which was especially felt in the dense forest. As luck would have it, her cell phone was dead. She couldn't light her way. She walked for about 30-40 minutes and realized she was going somewhere wrong. She should have reached the city by now, but she got into some woods. So Katya realized that she was lost in the night forest. The woman wandered through the forest all night, looking for a way out. She kept thinking about her daughter and her father, who must be worried. In the morning, Katya came across a hunting lodge. Here she found a raincoat, a jacket, big rubber boots, and most importantly, there was a bag of sugar, macaroni, and buckwheat. The find became her salvation. Near the house was dug a makeshift well, in which in the morning appeared in small quantities of water. Katya scooped it up and saved herself. There were no matches in the house. So Katya soaked overnight in cold water a small portion of macaroni in a pile, which she also found in the house. The macaroni softened at least a little, and that's what she ate. She tried to look for mushrooms, but there were no mushrooms. It was not the season yet. Only berries saved her. Every day Katya woke up and, leaving the cabin, tried to find her way home. But each time the search was empty and she returned. For 28 days in a row, Katya went out to search, and only the 28th attempt was successful. She met a family of berry growers. Those people had heard very well about the loud search for Katya, who had disappeared in the forest a month ago. They realized it was her. They put a skinny and frozen Katya in the car and offered her food. But she refused and in tears asked only one thing: take me to the city to my daughter. That same evening, Katya met with her daughter and parents, who no longer believed in a miracle. And for nothing, after recovery, Katya visited that hunting lodge and restocked it with supplies. Perhaps they would save someone's life, just as the care of an unknown person saved hers back then. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new stories. Leave your comments and share your thoughts.